Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Tinubu should have sent Son to stop Benin coup instead of NAF jets, says Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. EFCC quizzes ex-AGF Malami over alleged terrorism financing. Ondo police arrest kidnap suspect while withdrawing 1 million naira ransom at POS. I am Gloria Atta. Welcome. Governor Ademola Adeleke has finally parted ways with the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as he has officially pitched tent with the Accord Party in his latest political move to secure a second tenure in office as the executive governor of Osun come 2026. This latest cross-carpeting to another political party is coming amid the growing speculations in recent times over Governor Ademola Adeleke's intentions, with many wondering if he would stay with the party that brought him to power. These rumors were finally laid to rest on Tuesday when Governor Adeleke confirmed his political direction by declaring to join the Accord Party.
The governor disclosed that he joined the Accord Party more than a month ago, precisely 6th November 2025, as a platform to seek re-election in 2026. He said the decision was after weeks of consultation and deliberations with stakeholders and opinion leaders in the state, citing the Accord Party's mission of welfareism, which aligns with his vision as reason for the defection.
Today, we unveil the new platform for the good people of Osun State, from Osun West to Osun East to Osun Central. This is our party, our new platform for victory come August next year. Osun voted for good governance in 2022 and they will support continuity in 2026. The mass of our people are for continuity, and Accord is our party for victory next year.
We call on all stakeholders, supporters, and Nigeria company to see this as a renewed invitation for them to join a movement built on character. Accord will continue to welcome leaders who share our mission to restore dignity, discipline, and direction to Nigeria political landscape. Your Excellency, your presence with us today is a testament that Accord is rising, and the future belongs to parties that put the people first.
Recall, on December 2nd, Governor Adeleke announced his resignation from the PDP, the political platform under which he rose to prominence as senator and later governor. In a letter he addressed to the PDP chairman of Ward 2, Sakpa Abokunde, in Ede North local government, Osun State, Adeleke cited the ongoing crisis within the PDP's national leadership as the reason for his departure. The governor expressed gratitude to the party for providing him the platform to serve, first as senator representing Osun West in 2017 to 2019, and later as governor of the state. Imefono Kon reporting for Clearview News.
Now, the Bachama community in Lamurde local government area of Adamawa State has carried out the mass burial of 9 women killed by the Nigerian army while protesting what they term as inactiveness on the part of the army in managing communal clashes between Bachama and Chobo communities in Adamawa State. The incident has plunged the entire Bachama nation into mourning, sparking waves of grief and protests across the state.
Emotions ran high earlier today as the bodies of 9 women were committed to Mother Earth. According to community members, the victims were reportedly part of a peaceful demonstration carrying nothing but leaves as a symbol of non-violence when they were caught in the unfolding chaos. The Bachama community is accusing the army of failing to protect civilians during the clashes, a failure they say opened the door to the tragic incident.
These soldiers just came and invaded us and were just shooting unannounced.
They fire up to a situation whereby we lost almost 10 people, but 5 were dead instantly. Those that were carried to hospital, now we buried almost 9.
From Lammurude to Nunman, the streets erupted in protest today as hundreds of Bachama women marched in black, demanding justice and calling for immediate government intervention. The demonstrations remained largely peaceful, though heavily charged with emotion.
We're laying to rest 9 women, and we need justice for these souls. As women, we call the government to fight for our rights, because according to the Constitution of Nigeria, we have a right to life, we have a right to freedom, and no uniform personnel will deny us. We have a right to protest.
Although the army authorities have issued a statement disassociating itself from the killing of the women, Bachama communities and eyewitnesses maintained that the peaceful women protesters were killed by the army. Community leaders have insisted that the events of today will not be forgotten, describing the incident as one of the darkest chapters in their recent history. Imefono Kon reporting for Clever News.
A coalition of civil rights organizations under the auspices of the Global Center for Conscious Living Against Corruption has condemned the emergence of a parallel Hisbah group known as Hisbah Independent Fisabillahi in Kano State. Speaking at a press conference this Wednesday in Abuja, convener of the group, Dr. Nwambu Gabriel, expressed concern over the creation of the group, which is allegedly spearheaded by associates of former Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. He noted that allowing the emergence and continued operations of a parallel Hisbah group under the guise of religious or humanitarian effort, especially with an alleged deep political tie and significant untraced funding, presents danger to Nigeria's fragile security architecture and constitutional order.
At a time when the nation is grappling with widespread banditry, insurgency, and the severe implication of being designated a country of particular concern (CPC) by the United States of America on religious freedom grounds, the establishment of a parallel unregulated enforcement group is an act that directly challenges the state's exclusive monopoly on the use of force. Allowing this group to operate would set a dangerous precedent that empowers political actors to create private, armed, or quasi-security militia, fundamentally undermining the democratic structures and the rule of law.
The group therefore called for the immediate disbandment of the Hisbah Independent Fisabillahi while urging the Kano State government to declare the activities of the group as illegal, unlawful, and an enemy of the state's security.
The Nigerian Police Force, the DSS, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, must, as a matter of urgency, launch an urgent, comprehensive, and transparent investigation into the following: the promoters and structure of the group, the sources, management, accountability, or its substantial funding, any possible link with political militia, arms proliferation, or international terror financing network.
When influential figures sponsor or organize armed groups, it signals to the public that the rule of law is optional and the personal power left unchecked. The future is not written by militias. The future is written by citizens who choose peace, who choose justice, and who choose unity.
We must come together. This is not a time to begin to proliferate different security organizations that will eventually do harm to the collective interest of Nigeria.
According to reports, the independent Hisbah group has already commenced its recruitment exercise by distributing 12,000 forms across the 44 local government areas in the state to help ensure lawful conduct within the state. The Global Center for Conscious Living Against Corruption says the development of a rival enforcement body undermines the legally recognized Hisbah Commission, creates confusion among citizens, and sows the seeds for possible violent conflict between groups claiming authority. Now, police operatives in Ondo State have arrested a suspected kidnapper, God's Power Cletus, who was apprehended while attempting to withdraw a 1 million naira ransom allegedly extorted from the husband of his victim. It was gathered that Cletus reportedly invaded the home of Mrs. Farimoyo Endurance in the Odudu community of Akure, where he was said to have robbed her at gunpoint, taking her Android phone and ATM card. During the attack, the suspect allegedly forced the victim to place a call to her husband, demanding a ransom of 5 million naira under threat to her life. A police source revealed that the victim's husband subsequently transferred 1 million naira into her OP account out of fear for her safety. However, detectives from the State Anti-Kidnapping Squad tracked him through intelligence-led investigation and closed in on him at a POS kiosk where he was attempting to withdraw the funds. Confirming the development, the State Police Public Relations Officer, Ayonlade Olayinka, said the suspect confessed to the crime during interrogation. He said investigations are ongoing to determine whether the suspect is linked to other kidnapping or robbery operations within the state. Olayinka commended the swift efforts of the anti-kidnapping squad, noting that the arrest reflects the command's improved operational efficiency and commitment to proactive crime fighting. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has criticized what he described as the excessive deployment of security operatives around the family of President Bola Tinubu, warning that such overreach undermines Nigeria's security priorities. Speaking at the 20th Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism Awards in Lagos on Tuesday, the literary icon recounted his recent encounter with what he termed a battalion-level security detail attached to the president's son at a hotel in Ikoyi. Soyinka said he had initially assumed a film was being shot on the hotel premises due to the sheer number of heavily armed personnel he saw. According to him, about 15 heavily armed officers formed the president's son's security cordon, an arrangement he found alarming. The playwright added that he was so disturbed that he attempted reaching the National Security Advisor to verify whether the deployment was official. Soyinka, in a tone laced with sarcasm, suggested that the federal government need not deploy the military or air force to quell threats in neighboring countries when such a formidable force already escorts the president's son.
Tinubu didn't have to send the air force and the military to deal with this particular insurrection, this threat to our own sense of security and equilibrium. No. There are easier ways of doing it. Let me tell you where Tinubu should have looked for forces to quell that insurrection. Right here in Lagos. Right here. Or in Abuja, perhaps. I don't know. But there was no need to call the military or the Air Force. I'll tell you what happened. On one of my home visits, this about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I said, oh, they're shooting a film. That was on the grounds of this hotel. And a young man detached himself from the actors, came over and greeted me, very polite, very nice young man. And I said, are you shooting somebody? I said, I'm just joking. Are you shooting a film? He said, no. And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying the grounds of that hotel in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car and I asked the driver who that young man was. And he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time, the president should just call and say, Sheyi, go and quell the rebellion over there. I was so astonished that I started looking for the National Security Advisor. I said, track him down for me. I think they got him somewhere in Paris, but I was with the president. He was at a meeting. And I said, I've just seen something I can't believe, I don't understand. And I described the scene to him. I said, do you mean that a child of the head of state goes around with an army for his protection or whatever? I couldn't believe it. Later on, I did some investigative journalism. And I inquired, and I found that apparently this is how this young man goes around with his battalion, his heavy armed soldiers. Of course, the road was cleared before his car went out. I stayed until it seemed he was leaving. So next time there's an insurrection, I think the president should just call that young man and say, no, put down those stupid people there. You have enough troops under your command, so don't bother me with all these security issues any longer. Let's not overdo things. This is not the first country that has a head of state. It's not the first country whose head of state has families. And I think children should know their place. They are not potentates. They're not heads of state. And the security architecture of a nation like this suffers some injury and alienation when we see such a heavy devotion of security to one young individual. You'll excuse me, but I'm in and out most of the time. And this place is named after me. It's my center. So if I go off the immediate subject of our awards, I hope you'll excuse me for taking possession of my own center.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel. This is therefore a call to individuals, organizations, embassies, political office holders, and more to inform the world about their activities and achievements through documentaries. Here at Clearview, we parade the masters in the business of producing world-class documentaries. Show your stuff to the world by first contacting us through telephone number 0704-244-1177 or email us at clearviewnewsroom@gmail.com. Watch Clearview News at 7 p.m. daily, Monday to Friday on MITV, channel 255, DSTV, and on our YouTube and Facebook pages. Clearview News Desk. We clear the view, one time and for all time. Now, the immediate past Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malame's son, is undergoing interrogation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over allegations of terrorism financing. He was still in custody as at 10 p.m. last night, having failed to meet bail conditions. The ex-minister has been asked by the Anti-Graft Agency to clear himself of issues relating to money laundering, especially operation of suspicious accounts. Malame has also been told to account for his investment of about 10 billion in Kebbi State, whereabouts of $322 million Abacha loot recovered from Swiss account, and about $22 million from island of Jersey. But the ex-AGF said his public record in office stands in direct contradiction to any insinuation of complicity in terrorism financing. A top EFCC source said the allegations against Malame were many and will therefore require some days to go through. However, Malame rejected the allegations of terrorism financing, citing his key roles in Nigeria's AML-CFT reforms and FATF grey list exit to dismiss the terrorism financing insinuations. The federal government this Wednesday arraigned a former Minister of Aviation, Stella Odua, in an Abuja High Court over alleged fraud of 2.4 billion naira. She is arraigned alongside Gloria Auditor on a 5-count charge bordering on alleged fraud, obtaining by false pretense and criminal breach of trust. The prosecution alleged that the defendants were conspired in January 2014 to obtain a total of 2,469,030,730 billion naira from the Federal Ministry of Aviation through Broad Waters Resources Nigeria Limited and Global Offshore Marine Limited under the alleged fraudulent claims. The prosecution further alleged that Odua and Auditor agreed amongst themselves to obtain a sum of 2,469,030,738 naira 9 kobo by false pretense. The offense violates sections 8 subsection A and sections 1 subsection 1A of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act and is punishable under section 1 subsection 3. The government alleged that on January 13, 2014, the defendants obtained the sum of 839,780,738 naira 9 kobo by falsely pretending that the said sum represented cost of technical supervision. In count 3, it alleged that on February 12, 2014, the defendants obtained 1,629,250,000 naira from the ministry through Global Offshore Marine Limited, claiming it was for security integrated and logistics support services, a representation the prosecution says was false. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has criticized what he described as the excessive deployment of security operatives around the family of President Bola Tinubu, warning that such overreach undermines Nigeria's security priorities. The immediate past Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malame San, is undergoing interrogation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over allegations of terrorism financing. We also told you that police operatives in Ondo State have arrested a suspected kidnapper, God's Power Cletus, who was apprehended while attempting to withdraw a 1 million naira ransom allegedly extorted from the husband of his victim. Events and happenings around you via our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Clearview News Desk, or via our handle on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Clearview Online. Many thanks for watching. I am Gloria Atta. Bye for now.